For my birthday, my daughter gave me a card with a quote by Vivian Green. My daughter said that that quote reminded her of me. The quote states, "Life is like a storm, and it's not about waiting for the storm to pass, but learning how to dance in it." Reflecting on that quote, I see how Paulina came to that conclusion. In some ways, I can see how my life is like a storm, and I am getting pretty good at learning how to dance in the rain. Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters, in the next few minutes, I will share with you a few memories from my life in Poland, Austria, and Canada. I thought that my childhood in Poland was uneventful. I had a good home, 2 loving parents, and too many siblings for my liking. 2 brothers and 2 sisters were 4 too many. And do you think that I thought that spending my summer vacation standing up in lineups, waiting to buy basic necessities was a harsh reality of poverty? No. I saw that as an opportunity to hang out with my friends, and later, when I was older, to flirt with guys. Or, do you think that the martial law of 1980 I viewed as a precursor of the communism downfall? To me, it was just an extra time off from school, an opportunity to watch the army tanks driving through the streets of my city. But when I got older, got married, had a baby, I quickly realized that perhaps life in Poland is not a storm that I necessarily should wait to pass. As a result, my husband, my 18-month daughter, and we left Poland in 1989. From all our savings and the money we got from selling our possessions, we bought a 4-day trip through Hungary to Vienna in Austria. We looked quite peculiar to other tourists on a tour bus. 2 young people with a baby and duffel bags filled with diapers, baby toys, baby medicine, and basic necessities. You think we looked like tourists? When we left our tour bus in Vienna, our Viennese waltz began. Without knowing the German language or knowing the city, we had to find a refugee camp and then survive 3 long weeks locked up in a quarantine, sleeping with 48 strangers. Making that work with a baby was not only dancing in a storm, but it was like performing a tango in a hurricane season on a huge stage. The guardsmen with automatic rifles on their chests watched us almost all the time. We were in complete isolation. Life got somewhat better when we were allowed to live on what we called a free camp. We were no longer locked up, and our daughter was able to enjoy a beautiful spring weather playing outside on a playground. And we had only 8 roommates this time. We stayed in Traiskirchen for 3 months, and when we were refused the political refugee status, we moved to Vienna and lived there for another 6 months. Only few days before before our deportation back to Poland, we received our Canadian London immigrant status, and on December 4th of 1989, we came to Winnipeg. I know how crazy one must be to choose from all the beautiful cities in Canada, Winnipeg. But that city was chosen for us because we were sponsored by our family who lived there. I spent 11 wonderful years in Winnipeg. During that time, I've learned about Canadian culture. I learned English language, and I also became a Canadian citizen. And I got my nursing license back. In Winnipeg, I lived through one of the biggest storms of my life, a premature birth of my second daughter. She was born 15 weeks too early, weighed a pound and a half, and had only 20% chance of survival. For the first time in my life, I wasn't sure if I was strong enough to keep dancing or if the rain will just wash me away. I wanted to run far, far away from the storm, but I didn't. I learned how to dance in the pouring rain with no umbrella, sometimes in high heels, and with nobody to lead me in that dance either. But that storm passed as well, and I had another beautiful baby girl with a lot of challenges and even more courage and perseverance. It was my husband who fell in love with beautiful Okanagan, and despite the huge protests from our daughters, we moved to Kelowna. In the Okanagan, I discovered my passion for geriatric nursing, leadership, and skiing. I spent many beautiful years raising my children, working as a geriatric nurse and later as a nurse leader. And I spent many, many hours skiing at the Big White. Although I am in the storm again, but this time I am discovering that the rain is helping me to wash away all the worries, fears, and uncertainties. And I am finding a lot of joy in dancing in the rain, and I am looking forward to see what life will bring me next when this storm will pass.